When understudies tell the leading man before they go see a show, break a leg, do they mean they want them to break a leg so they could step in and take over, or are they wishing them good luck?
They are wishing them good luck. Do you want to know where it comes from?
Yes.
So back in the olden days, during like Shakespearean times, the leg was the wing, and you only got paid if you actually hit the boards, like if you were actually on the stage. So wishing somebody to break a leg is wishing them success, but also money, because then they are physically on the stage.
Sarah Strange.
Hi.
Sarah is, let's just say she's a very accomplished musical theater actor, as well as other talents. She's also an actor, but she really loves the musical theater side of the business. And so we asked her to come by here just to get to know her a little bit better. And so here's my first question. Sarah.
Yes.
Where are you from?
Born in Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal girl. Here's to that. Cheers.
Cheers. Raised in Ottawa, actually, which is where I started studying voice. And then I went to Sheridan, just outside of Toronto.
So your main training is Sheridan College?
Yeah. Yes. Theatrically, yes. Vocally, Ottawa, because I went to an arts high school there.
Also, it's the arts high school that gave you sort of your first sort of voice training, I guess.
Yeah.
And how was Sheridan?
It was extremely intensive. It was a little bit, it was very intensive.
In a good way, I guess.
In a very good way. I learned more in those 3 years than I could have ever imagined learning when I came out of high school. You know, you come out of high school as a you know, a bunching teenager, and you're, of course, coming from a very small pond, and you get to Sheridan, and there's a whole entire room full of people that are better than you are, pretty much. Yeah, so it was humbling.
So how was it when you came out of Sheridan? What was your next step? Coming out, I'm all trained, I'm ready to get on the board, to start singing, and...
Yeah, I got work right away.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got on cruise ships.
Good for
I
you.
worked for Royal Caribbean for a couple of years. The Wave Review, singers and dancers. Blah, 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 blah.
Sarah Strange!
Yeah.
How was that, though?
It was amazing. I was fresh out of school. I was getting paid to sing and dance and see the world. Like, it could be worse.
Could be worse.
Yeah.
And then, how long of a stint was that?
2 years. I was gone for 2 years.
Like, gone not to return in 2 years?
No,
or
like I was, my first contract was an extended contract. So I did 9 full months. My first contract, it was long.
Oh, boy.
And then I had a little bit of a break, like a couple weeks off, and then I did another 6 months.
And then coming back?
And then came back. I moved back in with my mom. I'm sure she was thrilled.
Well, I mean, just to start it off.
Yeah. And then I actually randomly went to visit my cousin who was living in Atlanta, Georgia. Mm-hmm. And it was 95 degrees out, and it was November. So I thought, well, I might as well stay.
What? You say?
Yeah. Yeah.
And?
Did
you do any singing?
Waiting tables. I was singing jazz at this little bistro.
Wow.
Yeah. Recording. I was recording. It was...
In Atlanta?
Yeah. Weird.
Wow.
And sort of random.
Wow.
But that was a thing that happened.
Hey.
And from there, I went to New York.
Wow.
Moved to New York. I lived in New York a couple of years. Shh, don't tell anybody. Again, like...
How was that?
Auditioning and...
New York. The New York scene. I mean...
Yeah, I had spent my whole life wanting to live in New York City, and...
Like New York and London, that's a musical theater mecca.
New York is... you know, I got off the plane in New York City, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I was home. There's nowhere like it. And whenever I go, there is a calm and a peace that washes over me while I'm there. And when I leave, it's like the worst breakup ever. I cry on the plane on the way home.
Come on.
Yeah, it's really bad. I love New York. I will get back to New York.
Really?
City. Yes. My plan is Broadway in 5.
Wow.
Within 5 years. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. That's my plan. We'll see if it happens.
Well, how do you go down? Do you have dual citizenship? Like,
no.
Is it difficult for you to go cross over there and work as a...
In Trump's America, yes.
Easy or not?
difficult.
Yeah,
Very,
I
very,
figured
very
much.
difficult. When I was there, which was 17 years ago, it was a little bit easier.
Oh, it was much easier.
You know,
Before, obviously, 9/11.
it was literally right after 9/11 was when I moved.
Right after?
Yes.
Wow.
But,
Wowzers.
yeah, the city was damaged and looking for a little bit of love and some hugs. And
Wow.
I was auditioning and taking dance classes and making friends. It was.
I mean, back then
years.
it was tough. I mean, Vegas almost went bankrupt.
Yeah,
You know,
it was hard. Yeah, America took a hit. Yeah.
That was a little bit of a dark time.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're over that.
Yes, and now there's a musical about it.
Oh well, which
Come From Away.
Come from away. Yeah.
Where have you been?
Jesus, Jenny, where have I been over here?
Drop
Under a
the
rock.
place.
Under a rock. So I guess it'd be great for you to get on that show. Come from away.
Yeah, I auditioned.
Oh.
I think I had a great first audition. I had sort of a mediocre / bad second audition. I think that's where I went wrong.
Well, you know what? You come back bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah.
You'll get there.
Yeah.
And now, currently, what's going on? What's going on with
What's
Sarah
going
Strait
on right now?
Right now.
This very second, I'm in rehearsals for Company in Concert.
Okay, tell us about that.
Sondheim musical, so it's a lot of...
I love that guy.
Oh, it's a lot of harmony, and it's very difficult. But it's very satisfying to sing, which is really great.
So, when is it going up?
March 16 and 17 at Eastminster Church.
Okay.
100% of the proceeds from ticket sales are actually going to Out of the Cold, which is helping homeless teenagers.
Wow, homeless teenagers.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and after that, do you have anything planned?
I do.
Of course you do.
Of course I do.
Why even?
I just booked.
Oh boy,
This
I like the sound of that. Booked.
Yeah, I booked it. The permanent replacement for the national tour of Menopause the Musical.
Wow, that's a big successful show,
Yeah,
man.
it's been going on for a very long time. I'm joining a cast of 3 women who've been doing the show for many, many, many years. And permanent replacement means I could inevitably do this show for years as well.
Wow.
I tour in the spring and in the fall.
Is it a slog? Is it a tough show to do for you?
It's a lot of fun. It's a character role for me, which is where I fall naturally. It's funny. It's comedy.
Wow. So here's the big question, Sarah.
Yes.
Doing that many shows.
Yes.
Every week.
8
shows a week.
Yes.
For how many consecutive weeks do you do 8 shows a week?
Last year, 2017.
Yes.
What year is it? I did 4 contracts consecutively. Is that the right word I'm looking for? Yes, I did 4 contracts. I went from Singing in the Rain to My Fair Lady to Beauty and the Beast to A Christmas Story. So I was working from March through December last year. And that's 8 shows a week with a couple weeks off in between each show. But for most of the year.
You're like a Hulkster.
It's just pretty, 8 shows a week is pretty standard.
No, I know, but it's still, difficult. You have to have,
The hardest week of that entire contract is the 8-show week right after Tech Week.
And why is that?
Because Tech Week is, they call them 10 out of 12s. So you're at work for 10 out of 12 hours. They're extended long days. There's 3 of them right before you open. And it's just
brutal.
long. It's like, okay, everybody back to ones. Let's do it again to make sure that all the light cues are right. And to make sure that the sound guy's on it, and to make it's just sort of it's building the magic,
right?
Which is very important because it's the final step before an audience. But they're just long days, and then you go from those 3 extended long day magic days into the opening week, which of course is a full week of finally getting an audience, which is much needed at that point in the game.
And the tech doesn't mean that it's, the refined show. You still
Yeah, still bits and bobs.
Yeah, still bits and bobs.
You're still polishing. You're
timing,
still,
right? You want to. It's all about if the show.
Yes.
A lot of shows in tech, tend to drag on.
Yeah.
And okay, we got to clean it up. We got it's like 5 hours, right?
Yeah.
We talked about bring it down to like 2.5 hours or whatever.
So it's for sound and lights, and for the director and for the choreographer, but it's also fine tuning and building the magic.
Yeah.
It's building that what's going to be the final product that you.
And you go to Q to Q and all that
Yes.
business and.
I have a love-hate relationship with tech because I love magic. I love it.
Yeah.
And that's why we do it. But 10 out of 12s, man, I am old. Mama is old.
You can do it. I mean, you went from show to show to
Yes.
show. I mean, come on. You're like a veteran. You're like a champion musical theater woman. You're like, you must laugh when these kids out of theater school come on and like, yeah, I'm gonna be the next big thing, and they're wet behind the ears.
I don't.
What?
I think that's pretty magical, actually.
How so? Why? Because they're sort of ignorance is bliss.
No, because I think that it's really important to have that. I still have that. It took a minute. I got a little discouraged. And it was actually Singing in the Rain that did it for me during Tech Week. That brought me back into sort of a place of magic. We were teching. Have you ever seen Singing in the Rain?
No,
Singing in the
I
Rain?
haven't seen.
I'm singing in the rain.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, so when we get to that scene, which is literally right before the intermission, it rained on stage, and I was standing in the wing because I was doing a crossover, a little comedy bit with an umbrella, and while he was singing this iconic song, and he gets to that part, and the rain started to fall, and you could hear it on the stage, and I was like, oh my God.
How do you keep it fresh every night when you go out? You're tired, lethargic, you're feeling a little bit under the weather. How do you keep it fresh to perform the best you can for these paying people?
I had a director,
Boy.
a very accomplished director, who said to me once, in every audience it is somebody's very first show, and in every audience it is somebody's very last show. And
Wow, I've never heard that one before.
yeah, and it's,
Is it the same thing as for every audience? Because obviously when they come see a show, it's not just a show anymore, right? They go
Right.
see.
they go see
Magic.
Magic.
They go see magic. But before that, hopefully their dinner is magic.
Yes.
Right? They go out for
Yes.
dinner.
It's a full evening's event.
It totally is. So
It's not cheap to see a show.
not at all. So it could be your first meal
Yes,
as your.
maybe your last. But
Yes.
that's perspective.
Yes. You have to honor that.
Yes, you have to honor that. You have to.
So that's
builds
what.
the magic.
That's your impetus.
Yes.
So before you hit the stage, it doesn't matter how you feel. As soon as you think to yourself, you know what? It's gonna be someone's first and someone's last.
Yes.
Is that what?
Yeah.
That's what goes through.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's what you think of.
All the things that I can thank David Connolly for, he instilled that in me. So on days when I'm like,
Wow.
I got 2 shows today, I gotta find it somewhere. Just say a little backstage to myself. I go, I can find the magic. I can find the magic for that one little kid who doesn't know yet, but she's going to be an actress, and then she sees this show, and what have I created for her? I made magic. Now she wants to be an actress. You know what I mean?
But every show is obviously, it's not the same as the one before. It's
No,
the
of
magic,
course not.
right? But you get yourself.
Yeah.
You get yourself there.
It's the little
So if you had a crummy day,
yeah.
everybody's got crummy days,
Everybody's got crummy days.
and then
There are days that I get to the theater and go, it feels like a job today. Today feels like a job.
and yet before you go there,
Yeah. Before I go on stage, I
conjure.
take a minute and I go, okay, I can find magic. And it's in the little bits, right? Like it's in the little traditional traditions that you've got backstage. The same thing that you say to the same person at the same point when you pass each other backstage. It's that same.
So is there an
Yeah.
element of superstition?
There is a huge element of superstition, but there's also a familial bond that you create with with your cast. You are creating something together. You are building a family. It's a temporary family for the duration of however long the contract is, but you're building a unit together.
Well,
right?
it's like a
So
playing sports, right?
the little bits and bobs,
Yeah.
it's those little tiny little traditions that you pass each other at the exact same part of the show.
Are you
backstage,
serious?
and it's like it's little bits and bobs like that just make it, you know.
You pass each other. It's always the same.
It's always at the same part of the show because
And do you acknowledge
they're
one
called
another?
tracks. Yeah. So my track is to go from stage right to stage left when at this part and put on this hat and then this scarf and like everyone builds their own track.
Right.
And at the same part of the same show, if you're passing somebody in the back, there's like sometimes you build a little like tiny little traditions, like you always say the same thing or you always do the same thing.
So you ever encounter any sort of tricksters that were like, they want to mix it up, they want to sort of jab it in the gut and don't do the repetition and try and throw you off your game.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
You don't do that though.
No.
I mean, that's kind of evil in a way.
Backstage pranks, not on stage, not to throw off anybody's game on the stage, are totally different than people that actively attempt to throw off other people on stage or do something that is focus pulling from the scene that's happening.
So does that, in your experience,
Yes.
does that happen in every show you do?
No.
Out of 10, you do 10 shows in a year.
Yeah.
How many of them are you? How many of those shows are you going to encounter these type of actors? For whatever reasons they want.
That's a hard thing to say. In professional theater, it happens very, very infrequently, I think.
Right. Yeah. Well, the higher stakes.
Higher stakes, but also we're getting paid. Literally, it is our job to maintain the artistic vision of the director when the director hands it to us on opening night.
And if you go off the beaten path, you'll hear about it after.
Especially the higher up you go. You're on a stage in the West End or you're on a stage on Broadway and you do something that literally puts the show at risk.
Right. Changes the energy completely. I mean, I've been on shows
You
where
can be fired.
it happens.
Yes, of course it happens.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, higher risk. Professionalism is really important.
Yeah, but sometimes actors, they the Mousetrap, for example. I mean, that show's been
the
going
longest running
right,
show.
exactly.
Was that at 45 years now or something? Yeah.
So you're on that show, and you happen to be one of those old crusty guys,
You've
and
been on the show for 20 years.
oh, here comes Sarah Strange with her big booming voice. Let's do a little trick on her. I'm an old vet. They're not gonna. No one's gonna get rid of me. I'm the star.
Yeah.
Does that happen?
I don't know.
All right, so it
I've been in
hasn't
the
happened to
industry
you.
that long. It hasn't happened to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So, going back to Sarah's, going back to Sarah's big booming voice, I did manage to dig up some, some vocals that I found. Sarah singing "Day by Day."
Days and Days.
Days and Days.
Oh.
Right. So.
Love that song.
So yeah, she has a few clips on YouTube, but Days. What's it called again? Sorry.
Days and Days.
Days and Days. I'm not familiar with this particular musical.
It's from the musical Fun Home,
There you go. I know.
which is coming to Toronto very, very soon.
Like I know, I'm pretty okay with musicals. I really enjoy musicals, but I don't know this one. I don't know it.
It's a great show.
It is, but when I was looking at the different songs that Sarah sings, this one in particular really hit me. And I'm gonna share this video with you guys, and you'll see what I mean. I'm only gonna show you a portion of it because it's quite long. I mean, I really liked watching the whole thing, but it's I like to keep things tight around here, so people don't take off and get popcorn, But please, guys, just a snippet of Sarah's voice. It's a big booming voice, and I'll let you listen to it, and then we'll get back to it, and then I'll ask you a few more questions. So please check.
Days and days and days, that's how it happens. Days and days and days, made of posing and bragging and fits of rage. And boys, my God, the places we would go. And he said I understood how the world made him ache. But no, that's how it happens. Made of bargains I made because I thought as a wife I was meant to, and now my life is shattered and laid bare. Days and days and days and days and days and days and days.
Sarah Strange singing Days,
Days and Days.
Days, Days and Days
From Fun Home.
from Fun Home. So, have you done this musical?
No, bless. I have a list of dream roles.
Oh, yeah.
Like 10 miles long. And that's one of my dream roles. Yeah.
And,
She's the mother.
right.
You don't know the show.
I don't know the show.
Oh.
I don't know
You
it.
must
I'm
listen
sorry.
to it. It's a fabulous
I
show.
just know like Sondheim
It's based
and
on Alison Bechdel, who is a graphic artist.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
and growing up with her dad.
and
was-
you chose this particular piece because you want to do the show one
Because I
day.
identify
You-
with the character, and the song moved me the first time I heard it.
Right.
And, for me, it's about finding material that I really identify with.
Right.
A couple years ago, I thought I'm not going to do songs anymore that are roles that A, that I'm not good for, and B, I want to do roles that I'm aging into. So I revamped my entire audition book and revamped all of my repertoire, and it's literally all just fabulous roles of stuff that I'm aging into, and beautiful women that I hope to be able to step into.
I guess one has to do that every 5-10 years.
Yeah,
I
about
mean,
that.
You know, I mean, hey, can't stop the hand of time, Sarah.
Cannot.
We could only work with it.
It's so true. I've never been the ingenue. I've never been the girl next door. I always knew that my career was going to hit in my 40s and 50s because I am the crazy aunt or the kooky innkeeper's wife, Lemus, and the hairdresser, Paulette, and those are all the roles that I knew that I was going to be able to eventually come into my own.
Well, the great-
It's finally here. Which
Well,
is exciting.
yeah, exactly. You know, the great thing about that is, I think the most important thing, is you got to know what you have.
Yes.
You have to know what you have and not go against the grain because people won't see you like that. You got to go with what you have and be the best at what you have,
Yes.
and people will
Know
notice.
your niche.
It was great having you here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
Thank you.
for being here. I'm so happy you came here. Sarah Strange.
Thanks.
Give it up for Sarah Strange. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very, very, very much. An elephant? Come on, a house elephant. Waitress. Noodles. Oh man. I've been waiting tables for over 21 years and I've seen a lot of people just walk out on the job. Like dropping their apron and leaving in the middle of a massive brunch rush. It's pretty epic. Not getting a role that I really wanted, that I thought I was going to get, that turned into a much better and far more successful year for me. Blue Christmas, Elvis Presley. Oh, Mr. Palmai, 1000% my vocal teacher in high school. I have notes on the back of my apartment door to make sure that I remember to turn my oven off. And then I have my meds with me. 16 little sips and one big one from the other side of the glass upside down. Oh, on the way here, actually, from the musical Amélie. It's called Times Are Hard for Dreamers. And yes, I sang it in the subway.